welcome to New Game Plus. I'm Tim, I'm joined by Donald. How are you?
I feel as if all is right with the world because we've seen the end of so many major things. We've got the end of E3, the Steam sales are behind us, we've just passed Oz Comic Con. Hi to everyone who said hello to us on the Oz Comic Con show floor and attended our trivia panel. Thank you very much.
But we have something that's either currently happening or will be happening.
Or has happened in the past if they're watching the YouTube archives.
Yes, the school holidays for all you excited kids out there.
Yes, school holidays. For those of us, no one in the studio can actually celebrate school holidays.
Yes, everyone's still working.
Yes.
We have to come here and make a TV show. How terrible.
Darn.
But, of course, school holidays, that brings some kids' movies.
Yes.
So we have a movie segment with Gerard and Liam looking at the two new animated movies.
Yes, Minions versus Inside Out. Who will win? It certainly won't be your wallet, that's for sure.
Yes, and we get to see the progression of Pixar where,
Yes.
like Pixar originally did, toys have feelings and monsters have feelings and cars have feelings, but now feelings have feelings, so we've gone full circle.
You didn't tell me Christopher Nolan directed this one.
Yes, but we have some game-related things in this episode as well. We take a look at Batman Arkham Knight, the end of the trilogy, although...
Yes, the fourth installment in this Arkham trilogy.
3 was a prequel, so that doesn't matter.
But we'll find out whether this is a fitting conclusion to this very revered franchise. But we've also got a look at Fallout Shelter. We've got some interviews from Oz Comic Con. But we've also got a look at Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, which maybe we should throw to right now.
And so one company that's been really getting down with the remakes is Capcom. They've done every Devil May Cry up until the one we're going to discuss now, which is Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. They've got Resident Evil coming out. They've been doing a lot. But it begs the question with a lot of remakes, like, is it worthwhile? Like, what exactly are they adding to the experience by remaking it?
Yeah, exactly. And with a lot of these upgrades, it's usually you get the sort of graphic upgrades. We're seeing this with a lot of the recent ones from last gen. But it is worth noting that Capcom are taking that extra step and are actually giving us a lot of new and interesting content on top of that. Obviously, in the past, we had the special edition of Devil May Cry 3, which introduced Virgil. Well, Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition is not only introducing Virgil, but is giving us 2 extra characters, which is Lady and Trish. Finally playable and in the game, and it's actually doing a pretty good job of integrating them as well.
Well, I guess because that's a big thing that a lot of the remakes, basically you can write it off in saying accessibility. Not everybody has the old hardware that they're on, blah, 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 blah. But to me, that's lazy. For them to have actually gone the whole hog, to have introduced not only characters from the series that people have seen, but actually making them playable, and not only that, like mixing up the actual abilities and stuff that you can access is, I mean, that's exactly what you want out of a remake.
Exactly.
A little bit more effort put in.
Exactly. So not only are we getting this better graphics version, and it is a very pretty game, like they've managed to bring it to the new gen really, really well. They've also put all this extra stuff and a harder mode as well, of course.
Because I guess because that is the one thing that Devil May Cry fans love to talk about is how difficult the game series is. So for them to go that extra hog and say, you know what, screw you, we're going to make it even more difficult, is exactly what you would expect out of Devil May Cry.
That's right, and it's hard.
Well, I guess the big question is, does it still play well enough? Like, if we very quickly before we wrap up, it's known for its fast gameplay. Does it still hold up to the standard?
Yeah, that's right. It hasn't skipped a beat. It's everything you want, and the new characters have brought a lot of really good mechanics to the table. It's what everyone wants. It's a special edition.
I don't know what Tyrell's doing, but I want some of that. Oh, you... See, this is why Capcom should patch out Khonshu, because of stupid things like that. They are just a nuisance, an absolute nuisance. Oh, that's right. So that was the second game.
Now, it's my absolute pleasure to be joined by Rikki Simons. Probably, do we say most recognisably, the voice of Gur on Invader Zim? Would that be a fair call?
Vocally, yes. But then no one really ever sees my face unless they are my mom or something. Yeah.
I guess that's the beauty of voice work, is you can walk through the airport and not be mobbed by people who unless you speak, and then you might be in a bit of trouble.
Well, it was weird when I landed here. There was a group of 6 kids waiting for me. One, I don't know how they knew when I was landing, and they wanted photos, so I took pictures with them. But they were very nice. But it was weird. They knew what I looked like, and they knew when I was landing. It's maybe they were for the airport or something. I don't know.
The airport children, they just trot them out for.
They were security people.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Zim very quickly. Not only did you do the voice of Gur, you also did some of the background art, some of the background colouring and art as well. I mean, that's an interesting step for somebody who's there as a voice artist to say, hey, you know what? I've got this other set of skills as well.
Yeah. My first set of skills when I was brought into the show was to apply myself to the color. I had been doing background acting in movies in the 90s, but I'm sort of like a TV, comics, movie writing gnome. You just sort of plug me into an area and I hammer away and get it done. So originally I had been hired onto Zim to color it, along with 4 or 5 other colorists. I was at the time I was also working on Jonan's book I Feel Sick, so I was living with him, and that was horrible. He was having trouble finding someone to do the voice of Gur. He was coming home every day really grumpy. I was like, "Oh, what's the matter, Jonah?" And he's like, "Brr." So I said, "Well, could I give it a shot?" And he said, "I guess you couldn't screw it up any more than anyone else." So he gave me an audition, and then I got the part. So it was very strange.
So I guess the other side of that as well is you've also done some voice work for video games. Was that a different experience from doing stuff for television, or was it a very similar kind of process?
It's different. Well, at least when I did those, I hear that now, because I haven't done one in a while, I hear now that people get to actually work with each other more, or at least they get to hear the voices.
They normally, as opposed to previously where it was recorded in isolation.
Yeah. With Zim, I got to work with Richard Horvitz, who is Zim, and Andy Berman, and who's Dib, and everyone else in one big booth. And then we would, if they wanted to separate out the voices, they would just stick one of us in an isolation booth inside the booth, and then they could separate them later. So it was really good. You got to see who you were with and interact. But with video games, you're just sort of you go into a lonely, tiny little sweaty booth, and somebody just says, "Here's your lines," and you don't even see the action. It's just scream, gurgle, blah blah blah, and you do all those things, and then they'll tell you, "Okay, this one you're being mauled by puppets," and then and you do all the mauled puppet sounds that are according to the script. But you don't get to see what the other actors are doing with, even if you have lines. But
Rikki, thank you very much for your time, and hope you enjoy Australia.
Thank you. Yay.
So the school holidays are upon us, which means kids' movies.
Yes.
Now, I watch a lot of movies. You do as well, but you also have kids.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of my kids sitting still for 2 hours and not bothering me. So we watch a lot of movies during school holidays.
Okay. Now, so the first one we want to talk about is Inside Out.
Yeah.
So that's a story of Riley, who's like a 10, 12-year-old kid who's just moving a house, is lost, confused, and we get to have a look inside her mind and her emotions.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Herman's Head from a long time ago. On the surface, it's a standard Pixar sort of coming of age sort of movie, but it's very deep, very intelligent underneath.
Also very funny.
Yes, a lot there for grown-ups. And I know as a parent, if your kids like a movie, you'll see it several hundred times. So there's a lot there for grown-ups as well.
And I remember, like, when I was watching it, you do get in touch with these characters, like the different emotions, joy and sadness, who play off well each other, and anger, and all those characters as they go on their adventure inside the mind of Riley. There was a moment, though, I'm like, this is where adults will cry, and the parents will cry, and this is where the kids will cry.
And there's some genuinely hilarious parts as well, especially the interaction between the parents and what's going on in their heads. A different highlight. My wife laughed her head off at that, so look out for that one.
So what did your kids think? How did they like it?
Oh, look, I've got a daughter who's not far off Riley's age in the movie, and a lot of it you can see that sort of conflict. in the movie, the control panel where the emotions sit, it grows as they get older. So it starts off with they're pushing each other aside, and I can see that with my young kids at the moment. It's one emotion at a time, and as they get older, they're all sitting together at the panel. So those sort of subtle things there. I know definitely. Yeah, my daughter responded very well to it. She's close to Ella's age. My son's a bit younger, didn't so much. But yeah, look, it's wonderful to watch.
I thought it was a really good film. I also saw Minions, which is the other offering for the school holidays.
Yep, they're everywhere, aren't they?
Yes, they're very popular. So the Minions films is a prequel to Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2 that came out with Drew. They're the little yellow things that speak in not quite English.
A and B do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Banana.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a bit of a, they're just up to hijinks.
Yeah, very slapsticky comedy. Very, they just get themselves in situations, get out. They're always carefree. Very, I think that's the appeal, isn't it?
It's very good natured and it's very sort of innocent and cute, but funny. But yeah, there was just a lot of sort of throwaway pop culture gags. Not necessarily bad, but it didn't have that same depth and sort of a attachment that you got with Inside Out.
Yeah, Inside Out. Well, that was Lasseter and Stanton have done it again with that one, and how they presented a deep, enjoyable story that's easy on the surface, and Deep Minions, it's a little bit more
it's a bit shallow.
Yeah,
but I think either way, you'll get to see them a few hundred times each. So look forward to that.
I can guarantee, yes.
There is a world beyond yours. Beyond nations, justice, ethics. It never sleeps. It exists everywhere. And once you enter, there is no going back. You are Agent 47, the world's premier assassin. You can get to anyone, anywhere on the globe. No target is safe. To the public, Viktor Novikov is a well-known oligarch. In reality, he is one of the ringleaders in an enigmatic spy ring called Iago. They deal in secrets that unseat governments and get people killed. And they are about to compromise covert operatives in a major European country. Time is of the essence. Viktor Novikov must be eliminated. The essence of a sandbox game like Hitman is freedom of approach. Where you go, how you infiltrate, who you become.
Hey, you.
Knowing which disguises give you access is key.
Okay, then, get out.
But beware, some individuals are more observant than others.
Hey, who are you? Hey, stop!
Be prepared to improvise.
Where is he? You see him, anyone? Yeah, where the hell did he go?
As you experiment with your playstyle,
We lost him.
each hit can go from bloody murder to a genuine masterpiece of assassination. Complete mastery of a level is rewarded. As your skills evolve over time, so do your options. Prepare equipment in advance and plan the perfect hit. New locations will appear over time. You will travel the world. New missions, new targets. Some targets only ever surface once, for a limited time. When they are gone forever. And when you think you're ready to be a contender, Contracts mode has evolved within the deepest, most expansive Hitman sandboxes yet. Mark your own targets and share them with your friends. Challenge a world of assassins. Welcome to a world of assassination. It is ever expanding, ever dangerous. It will never stop challenging you.
We know we weren't the first ones here. Our stories speak of the ones that came before. The old ones. The world of the old ones was so different than ours. They had built incredible cities with towers that reached the stars. But a darkness came, and their cities turned to graves. And without them, the land started to change. Their great cities faded away. And in their place came new life. Over time, one by one, the tribes came to these lands. Some small and humble, some powerful as kings. They say my tribe was the first to hunt, the first to raise our bows. For this world was never ours. We've always shared it. A dangerous balance between man and machine. There's the herd. Finally.
I've always loved Killzone, and Guerrilla Games are a fantastic studio that always seem to get the best looking games out of the Sony systems. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yes, it certainly put up a good show at E3 this year. And for one, it's a brand new IP, which, well, there are plenty of them at E3, but this one actually stood out amongst all of them because, well, admittedly, it's a little bit trite because it's got robots, you've got dinosaurs, they're sort of starting to get played, but combine the two together, and you know what? I'm in.
It has the flavor of the month, which is, of course, the bow and arrow, but they use
You mean 2012's flavor of the month?
Yes, it still continues on, though. So it does look very cool, like hunting robot dinosaurs and taking them out with your bow and your, like, tribal humans after the world has been destroyed. But, yeah, I don't know. It looks very interesting.
But it comes at a time when dinosaurs are coming back, though, because we've got Jurassic World, we've got Ark just rising through the charts on Steam Marketplace.
Yeah, but what I really want to know is, do these robot dinosaurs have feathers?
Well, they have digital feathers. Does that count?
Digital feathers. They're one step closer than to, like, paleontology than Jurassic World then.
Because what you're really looking for in your video games based on robot dinosaurs is scientific accuracy.
Yes, totally.
Now, Rocksteady have a fantastic track record for releasing games. I loved Urban Chaos. I thought Arkham Asylum was pretty good. I thought Arkham City wasn't as good as Arkham Asylum, but it was still pretty good. And now we have Arkham Knight, so they've basically dedicated themselves to the Batman. And it's a fantastic game. If we're talking purely on the game point perspective, I think it does a really, really good job.
I think when it comes to Rocksteady with all their games, they all seem to have one thing in common. So a bunch of vigilantes and tough guys fighting together, fighting towards a common enemy. And that is including everyone within the Batman
universe. And
universe.
after-death scenes. They've been big on the after-death scenes. Every game they've had has had you die and you get picked on by the people who killed you. But
spoilers, please. Come on, man.
But no, so I think the best thing, obviously the game is Batman. Scarecrow makes his way back to the city. He has a grand plan.
Harley Quinn, Two-Face, pretty much everyone under the umbrella.
All the big names have come in, and they all have their own kind of separate little niche. So each of them has their own kind of side quest, and some of them are really meaty and some of them aren't. But basically, it all comes together into this one night, and I don't know, if anything, it's an absolute success of game design. It manages to integrate them all so well. You can discover them on the fly, or you can wait for the information to come in. The way that the car, you can actually drive the Batmobile now, and the way that integrates is generally pretty good. I don't know, like as far as actual game, it's really, really solid.
I find the mission structure to be very kind of free-flowing. So you can jump into one mission, and later on you can kind of meddle between each and every single mission. So I find it really, really free-flowing. You know, the world is your oyster, or at least, you know, Arkham City and the rest of Gotham City. Every single enemy, such as, you know, Scarecrow, Two-Face, have their own little slice of life within Gotham City. So it's good to see their influence on things, so such as like Poison Ivy. She starts to have all of her vines and roots everywhere, as well as Two-Face having his thugs everywhere.
So stylistically, it tends to work, and I think the story itself works well enough. You know, the big reveal of the Arkham Knight and all this kind of stuff. But I just find the writing is a little bit insipid. Kevin Conroy is a fantastic Batman. If you've ever watched the animated series, he's proven that time and again. But just the lines are really lame. He's even more wooden than you expect Batman to be. Like, if they reckon that Witch is full of the gruff male trope, then I don't know what to say about Batman.
Well, how else would Batman be? You know, you've got the whole dead parents thing going on as well, but they need to balance that with a bit of
How do these people like him? How do these people fall in love with him when he's basically just like, I guess it's like Mad Max Fury Road. He just exists and everyone else exists around him. But that's what makes the universe colourful. I don't know, like there was just something about it that didn't make it Game of the Year material for me. Maybe it's just because I don't like Batman. But
I believe it might have been the Batmobile sequences. I know they must have invested a lot of time and money into the driving model, but every second mission is basically a Batmobile sequence. So if you're not a fan of jumping into the Batmobile almost, you know, every 10 minutes or so, you'll find the mission structure to be a bit repetitive at times. But otherwise, if you can get past that, it's an incredibly solid game.
It's basically the sequel to Project Gotham Racing.
Oh goodness
Project
gracious!
Gotham?
Why did you reopen that? Why did you reopen that wound?
Project Gotham.
Now, Tim, I would be asking you of your thoughts on Batman Arkham Knight, but you're a PC player, and as such, you've had a bit of issue with Batman Arkham Knight, haven't you?
Yes. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers have pulled it from the Steam store as we go to film this, so at the moment I cannot purchase the game to play it. So maybe that's a good thing, though, from what I've been hearing.
Yeah, there's just been some real graphical issues that have been reported with the PC version, like the frame rate going to junk, even the graphical fidelity. It looks like the PC version has been downturned. It's strange when the PS4 version actually looks better than the PC version.
Yeah, well, hopefully they fix that when they bring it back out. Whether it'll take a couple of days, a couple of weeks, we don't know, but hopefully it comes soon in good form, because you don't really want to be selling a product that people are going to have a bad time with. So pulling it from the store is probably a good idea, but I personally can't wait to play it when it's on the store and in good nick and playable.
But it is strange though, given that we live in a time where optimized PC ports are pretty much given at this rate.
Yeah, and it's very strange, seeing as Rocksteady had such a good relationship with NVIDIA on their previous games, really bringing the Batman to life on the PC, and for this one to not be as high quality as the other ones.
The cloth physics just didn't work out for them now, did it?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, but here's hoping that they fix it soon and it'll be playable.
In the meantime, you can console yourself with Haven Expo coming up on the 4th of July in Mackay, Queensland. So if you're up there, say hello to us. We'll be streaming and cavorting and just pretty much playing video games all night.
So, but that's it for this week. So visit our website, www.newgameplus.tv.
Like us on Facebook at NewGamePlusTV.
Follow our Twitter and Instagram at NewGamePlusTV.
And follow our YouTube and Twitch pages at NewGamePlusTV. We may even have a competition in our YouTube page.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll see you guys next week.